Hello, friends, and welcome to another video lesson from DBOS Talks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. This video is part of the playlist. What's this? Serious Fun with SQL. And here we will be learning the different uses of the number one, okay, in SQL, specifically Oracle SQL. So let's start with the first one. Okay, the first one is in the select list. Okay, if you're familiar with the select statement in SQL, the select list is simply the select followed by the columns or expressions in that clause. Okay, so before we use the number one, let me give you a background. Let's first execute a typical select statement. Okay, select asterisk from city time where UTC between -2 and 5, and so selecting all the columns from this table where this column has values that satisfy this range. Okay, let's execute that. And it returns the data that meets the work condition. Okay, so we see 13 records. If you are looking at my pointer, there are 13 records. If the other way is you can right click on the grid and then say count rows, it will tell you it's 13 rows. Okay, so we have 13 rows using this typical select statement. Now we will see the difference in practicality of the use of one. So instead of using asterisk, which is referring to all columns, I will instead use the number one. And let's see what the effect will be. So what happens when we use one instead of the asterisk that was there is that it will have a slightly different output, but the similarity is that it returns the same number of records. So if you look at my mouse pointer, it's also saying it's 13 records. Right click here, count rows is also 13 records. So you could use any other number, but for the sake of convention and to avoid confusion, we use one. Okay, and the purpose of the one here is simply that you are not interested in looking at the values of the table that will be turned out by the select statement, but simply you wanted to test for existence, if the value exists, if there is value. So it will definitely, obviously, take much less as juice, if you will, of the SQL engine or the database to produce this data to show it to you, rather than trying to make that effort from the database perspective to retrieve and display to you the different values of the different columns and the different rows. Okay, so that's the purpose of the one, simply to test for existence. So meaning if this where condition, either if the table is empty or the where condition is not getting met, it's not becoming evaluating as true, then this will return nothing. Okay, I will show you a very obvious where condition which will evaluate to false. Okay, where 1 is equal to 0. Okay, so this where condition obviously will evaluate to false. Okay, so you see it returns nothing. The one there is simply the column heading because that's what it is here. You could give it an alias, but it's another topic for another video. What I'm just showing you is the purpose of using the one here in the select list is to be used to test if record exists for the query you are running. Okay, you can actually use some other, like I mentioned, but for convention, to avoid confusion, we always use one. The second use of the one is here. It is used with the count function. Okay, so if we want to know the number of records in a table, we typically use select count from the table name. Okay, let's look at this. Select count asterisk from geocodes. So meaning I wanted to count the number of records in this table called geocodes without any where condition. You can also add a where condition. So, but what the count asterisk is doing is it was counting the number of records and then it will return to you, instead of the data, it will return to you the number of records. Okay, so I will execute this one. And it gives you 70, meaning there are 70 records in this table. Okay, so the other way, the second way of that we will be using the number one is in this count. So instead of doing a count asterisk like what we did here, I will instead use count one, and it will have the same effect. Okay. Okay. So you can see it's blinking because it's executing the query, and you can see that it has the same output as the count asterisk that we had before. So if you ask me, the database community at large is divided in the opinion when comparing the count asterisk versus the count one in terms of which one has the better performance. So many believe that count one has a slightly better performance, querying performance, compared to count asterisk. But like I said, it's a divided community, so never mind. But just take note that you have this option, that instead of using count asterisk to count the number of records in a table, then you can use count one. Okay, so that's another usage of the number one in SQL. Okay, the third is this. There could be other ways, but I'm just giving you a good three. Okay, so the third, I'm showing you usage of one in SQL is this: in the order by clause. As you know, the typical select statement in SQL consists of select, from. The where is optional, and then the order by is optional. So the order by is a clause used to specify the column or columns with which you want to sort the data which is being returned by the query, or sometimes called result set. Okay, let's look at a select statement here. Select city code, country code, UTC from city time, where UTC between -2 and 5, order by city code, semicolon, the terminator. So let's look at the order by clause. What this select statement is saying is that you're telling the database to get you this data that satisfies this sort condition, and lastly, sort the result set according to the city code. By default, ascending alphabetically, or ascending according to the ASCII code order. Okay, so city code is the column, one of the columns of the table. Okay, so let's execute this. It produces the table, the data that you asked for, and it's the same 13 records, but this time it is the results that is being sorted according to city code. So let's check on the city code column, which is the first one, and indeed it is sorted alphabetically or in ASCII order in the city code: AAA, ATH, CAI, CPT, FTN, IST, etc. Okay, so it's ordered by the city code, which is city code being one of the column names of the table city time. Now, the third thing we'll be learning here in terms of the usages of the number one in SQL is that this column name in the order by clause can be replaced by a number. In this case, I will use one. The number here is, the meaning of that is that it's the ordinal number of the column you were referring to. In this case, when we see ordinal number of the column in the select list. So meaning, if you look at the select list, which is this, look at that, and then you look at the columns in it, there are, in this case, there are three columns: city code, country code, UTC. The ordinal numbers, the order in which they are being listed out in the select list is in this manner: 1, 2, 3. Okay, first, second, and third column in the select list. So if I wanted to order by city code, which is the first column, then I will say order by 1. And in fact, if I wanted to sort it according to the second column, and then by the third column, I can say ordered by 2, 3. Okay, but here let me just show you the how number one will be used in this order by. Okay, so like I said, the one here is referring to the ordinal number of the column in the select list, meaning first column in the select list, which is city code. So the one refers to city code. So it is also ordering or sorting this result set according to city code. So if you check on city code, it is really still, same as before, being sorted by the city code alphabetically or in ASCII order, AAA, ATH, CAI, CPT, etc. Okay. Okay, so here in this short video, we have I've shown you at least 3 ways in which the number 1 is being used in SQL, specifically Oracle SQL. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and click the bell and spread the word. I hope to see you in the next video.